Okay, we're calling the meeting to order at 6:02. And first, I wanted to make sure everybody knew that in the new extension that we were just talking about, of the rules that allow for remote meetings or remote attendance at meetings, it was extended to March 31st, 2025. And there are some rules that weren't clarified in the first round. One is that at the start of the meeting, the chair must announce the name of the member or members who are participating remotely. So that has to be gotten into the minutes, essentially. All votes must be taken by roll call. And members of the public body must be clearly audible to each other and to members of the public, which we haven't really managed with our system, but is to our possible extent. We need to do that. Okay, Mr. Webster?
Yep.
Why don't you come in?
Okay.
Yeah, have a seat.
Push the button on the microphone.
I thought red was a bad sign. I thought red meant when you're muted. I was like,
No, it seems like it should be. Would you pass this around to him? I'm just giving you an extra copy of the conditions.
yep,
Okay. This is for 63 Mountain Road. And the request is for building a barn that's 28 by 36, which is beautiful. It's going to match the very old house. And a portion of the barn will stick into the natural heritage area, not a lot, but some. It's 55 feet from the intermittent stream. And it will have a concrete floor and frost wall and underground utilities from the garage. There'll be an extension to the paved area and a gravel driveway, is that correct? Also requires removal of several mid-sized trees.
Yep.
So, presume you've all looked at the application. Does anybody have questions?
and just, I sent back on the voicemail earlier saying I'm still waiting to get from Melanie Chesman.
Yeah, that's,
The approval. But she did say it's with the biologist for review.
oh, okay.
So
So,
she did get back to me and let me know it's not ready yet, but it is with the biologist for review. So
good.
hopefully we can do conditional approval assuming that comes through.
No questions?
Nope, I don't have it, no.
Okay.
Did you see all the extra conditions?
I wrote proposed
Fine.
conditions.
Bonnie,
I can read these. There's not that many.
your mic, you don't have it on.
Oh, okay. The applicant must ensure that runoff from the new structure and the parking is directed toward the rear of the property, away from the stream in the northwest corner. That's because there's a huge roof and it could funnel water towards the street, but I don't think so.
He has a brook like you do.
The applicant must install erosion barriers prior to and during construction activities. These should be outside the 25-foot no disturb zone. You understand where that is exactly?
No disturb zone from the intermittent stream.
Yes.
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
You know,
It's
kind of where
25
I marked it, I walked it
Yes.
at
Yeah,
25.
it's 25 feet from the bank,
Yep.
which is where the obvious water line
And
is.
the expectation is that it will surround the entire building envelope. Or
No,
like
just on the stream side.
just on the stream side.
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't have anything else we're worried about it running into, so.
Gotcha.
Kind of probably in a
Just
half,
between-
A half moon. kind of
half
Yeah.
moon on the two sides that kind of go that way.
Yep.
I mean, it should be obvious to you where the
Yeah.
slope is and.
Yeah.
And the boilerplate conditions that are attached to the determination explain that 48 hours before after they're installed, but before you plan to work,
Yep.
you need to give a call to Bonnie or send an email to me and we'll send somebody else to look at it.
Okay.
Only takes one person, so they just show up
Sure,
and
I'll
make
take a
sure
look
it's all.
at that. Correct.
Looking, looks at it. All right, The applicant will install native shrubs and or ground covers between the no disturb zone and the barn and or utilize gutters. We talked about both possibilities.
Yep.
To direct the rainwater away from the stream. All construction materials and soil must be stored no closer than 50 feet from the bank. Any soil piles must be securely covered to prevent erosion, left out a word. During storms and if left overnight. Conditions 1 and 3 will be ongoing. That means they essentially attach to the deed.
Yep.
Any conditions placed by Natural Heritage Department of Fish and Wildlife, subject to the NISA review, will be included and attached to the issuance of this order. And the NISA has been submitted. Did she give you a number?
Yeah, it's 23-41756.
Can you repeat?
411.
23-41756.
57,
56.
41756.
Yep.
56.
Okay. Are there any questions about any of these?
Nope.
Okay. You have to hold the building until the NISA comes through.
Yep.
But if you get it and we haven't gotten it, just email it to Bonnie.
Perfect.
It's
Yep.
immediately effective, and then she'll send you this document.
So there's two decisions they can make. Take, which is no problem. What happens? What is the other determination? Or
The
just-
possibilities are no take, which means, given the general guidelines that we have,
Yep.
they won't affect any animals or habitat. Take, or sometimes there's conditions like you have to have a turtle plan if you're in a big turtle area. So you have a guy who comes and screens all the turtles out and puts up a fence to make sure they don't come in.
Gotcha.
Stuff like that. I think yours will not be an issue at all.
Okay, it's just a matter of getting it through. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So, we can vote, with the condition that the NISA comes in. Which is the easiest way to look at everything. Okay, since there, I already did put in the condition about the NISA. Okay,
So let me understand this. You're gonna vote on
We're
the
gonna vote.
project tonight,
you're gonna hold it till the NISA comes.
so he'll know that what we, but he's not gonna walk out with it. We're gonna wait until we get the letter from Lisa.
Unless you just wanna.
No, we probably
Well, no,
should
you guys
hold-
I
get
think
the
that's-
visa.
We should hold it
right?
until
Yeah, probably smarter.
Right?
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah,
we'll
so,
hold it.
yeah, either you can come down and pick it up as soon as you get the letter, or you can ask her to send it to you.
That's fine. Yeah. Hoping it's gonna be in the next couple days. They only have to like the 21st to get it
Yeah,
done.
so that
So-
it will be.
So that's
really?
Friday, so
Yeah, that's right.
But
2 days.
I was begging her today that she might actually get me an email with the approval.
But she didn't like. Do one over.
I think she's been on vacation. So.
No, but she did say that it was with the biologist already, so.
Okay.
It should be coming back.
Yeah. Perfect.
All right, somebody wanna propose a vote? A motion, make a motion. You want to,
Huh? Whatever. Make a motion for Stephen Webster for 63 Mountain Road, Hampden. Where are we?
You would be looking at page 3. of
Page
5,
3.
oh, -2.
Okay,
negative
for
determination.
determination of applicability, a negative determination, item 3. The work described in the request is within the buffer zone as defined within the regulations, but the work will not alter an area subject to protection on the act. Therefore, said work does not require the notice of filing of intent. Subject to the following conditions which are attached. We have to read them all.
and the ones that are always there, which basically the erosion barriers and stuff like that. Okay.
And we will approve pending approval from MESA. Anything else?
Second.
All those in favor? We don't have anybody remotely joining.
No. Well, we got a couple of people listening in, but
Nobody.
No.
Okay,
no
was a
board
unanimous
members.
vote.
yeah, we just had two citizens.
Okay, Cheryl, we will see you soon.
All right, that's good.
Okay, we need to sign these now. Thanks for coming down.
You stay if you want, or you can leave if you want.
I can listen to John go through his.
Okay.
Not perfect timing, but sure then.
Sign the, yes. Thank you.
Now, when we get the letter, we want to come down and get the forms? Okay.
Yeah.
Rather than sending it off certified,
I'll just stop down.
perfect.
And will you get the email from Melanie as well, or do I need to send that?
Sometimes I do,
I'll make sure you're on. it.
Yeah.
All right.
thanks.
Sign this one.
And now,
Okay, Mr. Riccardi did not think he was gonna make it. He had a late plane arriving today. Oh, here you go. She was on here. Okay, why don't you come have a seat? I figured it was a given that you would not, you would be in Colorado or something.
I was asleep by about an hour.
Wow,
Just made it.
that's amazing.
Good thing he was here.
I think I installed for it.
Yeah.
You should have heard us.
Ready for bar.
Okay, next one is for 276 Mountain Road,
We don't have any paperwork. on it.
John Cardy. Oh, there's no copies?
That's not on the agenda, but it's here.
Yeah, I know it's not on the agenda, but you should have a copy of,
No,
no?
no.
I have extra copy, you can have one.
We
I
got,
know what it is, but
we got from McKay's
Yeah,
and we have from Mr. Webster, but that's it. At
No?
least I don't have it.
There's not one in here.
No, we don't have it.
Okay,
what about the ones I gave you to sign?
I'll give you the ones that were here to send, just don't scribble on them.
Maybe because there really wasn't much on it.
Yes.
Yeah, it is.
Sorry.
We'll fire you.
then who's gonna do it?
Right.
We'll pass this to Andrew, and then I'll let you know.
But you did give us a whole stack of stickies.
Well,
Stuck in the
I
thing.
gave you one because Judy had to,
Yeah, there's two things, don't lose them, because one of them is for the date she has to add.
Right, they're in there. No, she left the whole sticky pad.
Oh, okay. So you have. No, I don't have one. No, that's good then. Okay, Andrew and I and Tom and Ted were all at the site visit. And we discussed, checking Foreham boxes C and D on item B. If those were escaped, is that said? Yeah, okay, so that's good.
Which one, Bill?
It's whether the work depicted on the plans is subject to the Wetlands Protection Act, and whether the area and or work depicted on the plans is subject to the jurisdiction of municipal wetlands bylaws. Anybody have any comments about the site visit?
He's,
He has no national heritage, no stream, no wetlands, nothing that I could see that looked like it might be wetlands.
By the way, we make copies.
there was really nothing on this guy, huh? He's gonna get off
Yeah.
scot-free.
Yeah, it's easy.
Your
There's
Yeah.
no,
neighbor,
Be
we,
a little bit more, well,
yeah, because of his stream and the fact that it sticks into the,
I did include the letter.
yep, and he has his NISA letter back already,
You got it.
which is, will not result in a prohibited take.
right,
So
Yep.
he's cool with that. It is gonna require taking down a couple of trees. They're all relatively small diameter trees, like 8 inches. No legacy trees there, and I think they're both maples.
I think there are two maples and an oak or something like that.
Alright. Are there any other questions?
no, there's nothing there.
Okay. You make a motion?
I'll make a motion for 276 Mountain Road in Hampton, John McCarty. Make it a, under section D, negative determination. The area described, request is not an area subject to protection under the D Act or the buffer zone. And also, from natural heritage, will not result in, prohibited take of state listed rare species.
Okay, and his take number, his letter number is 230006. National Heritage.
And I'll second it. All right,
All those in favor?
aye. Any opposed?
Opposed? It's unanimous.
Sign this one over there.
Yeah. Now, is that, this is mine, so we don't want to sign this one, so strictly. Oh, this is bonds, that's.
This one.
You have another
Okay,
one?
and then I'll have to dig them. before we do it.
You have to sign that one in front of you?
This one, yeah, I know. Yeah, we're gonna sign 2 copies, that way you can just take it with them. Does everybody? Yeah. Okay.
Did you check that he was taking it with him on April 19th? That.
No, I didn't do the date.
Okay, I'll fill that.
Oops. It goes on the back of one of them.
Thanks.
Goes on one of them.
Where's the? Here it is. It's on the bottom.
Oh, I did bring that booklet. Good, I thought I did. And I couldn't find it.
Okay, wait a minute. My hand is over there. This one. Yep. Here you go.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah, you're all set.
All right, appreciate it, thanks. Everybody. Thank you, guys. We'll have another lot. Oh, yeah.
Take care, guys.
Okay, now 1 and 9 South Road.
Playing our song. Both getting the same instead.
That's what we got, that's what they said.
Yeah,
Oh, we're both getting the same three.
Maybe he can fix it.
Oh, there you
Maybe you could fix it for us.
Makes sense.
Yes. That would be really helpful if you could do that.
He only lives right there.
yeah, see, there's nothing.
Me too.
Oh, maybe I ought to give you a name to the selectmen, because last night it was so bad.
Yeah.
It was disconnected. We couldn't hear. It was so bad.
As much as I hate to say this, he's an audio engineer
Oh,
that worked in Nashville, so I
Oh.
can't do it.
It's all very confusing.
We gotta make sure I get all papers in the right folder, so. I walked up with Bonnie's copies.
from Nashville to Hampton.
All right.
From here.
Oh, okay.
um,
Believe it or not, I worked on sound systems too. In the army back in 1965.
Yeah,
The old, mics this big, and it took two guys to lift the speaker and that type of stuff. And miles
Okay,
of wires.
for 1 and 9 South Road. And this is both a parcel with a house on it and a parcel that has only a shed and is very long and extends from 1 South Road all the way down to the Faraday Farm. Yeah.
Right, so,
Well,
It's
I
up,
guess
they
I
get a little
should
bit
say
south.
up because it's uphill.
Down because it's south.
Okay.
I know.
Okay, and the request is for, hand clearing of invasive plants and brush adjacent to the brook on parcel 1. Establishing a nature and a nature trail and access to parcel 2. To determine what possibilities are available for land management for future use. And on your, on the proposed order of conditions, I think I gave you a copy of that when we were there, no? To find it. Which are rather long.
Everyone has a copy of this.
No,
Of
well,
the
I have,
conditions?
This one,
I have of this.
okay, yep, I brought an extra copy. This is a complicated property, so,
Yeah.
I made a proposal based on the fact that it's all invasives. However, when it gets to DEP, they might reject it,
Okay,
because of the mechanical removal part. And
like a brush off.
Yeah.
yeah, and it's also possible, you have to do a NISA filing, and the NISA people could reject it because they think it'll be too dangerous for the turtles. If they do, they wouldn't say, no, we can't do the project. What they would do is make conditions about how you can do it.
Okay,
Um,
Level of.
clearing.
yeah, it might be hand clearing, or it might be you can clear during a certain time of year. Or it might be that you need a habitat management plan, which just means a turtle guide comes and looks at the property and says, these are the rules you should follow. So,
Are turtles, you said the box turtles, right?
yeah,
Are they,
now I said
Are they-
turtles, but in fact, you're in 818, which officially has wood turtles, box turtles, and 2 kinds of salamanders,
oh, cool.
as well as a climbing fern. There's a climbing fern that looks like a hand, and that's also in Hampden. And they don't map exactly where they are because people come and steal them. Yeah, they even dig up the turtles out of the ground. So, but mostly in your part of town, it's, unless you have a rushing stream, it's box turtles. So, the stream on parcel 2, we determined was a perennial stream, which has different conditions than an intermittent stream. It shows up on both USGS maps, and that's one of the defining features, so it's pretty well set. And as I said, it runs all the length of the parcel, of parcel 2, down to Fairwood Farm, up to the Fairwood Farm. It runs from the Fairwood Farm down to the Skinner. Yeah, there's a small wooded swamp, wooded marsh, through which the stream flows. It's pretty clear on the maps that it's a flowing stream, not one that goes into the marsh and then out of the marsh, which makes for different conditions. Okay. Most of parcel 2 is estimated in priority habitat, except for there's a small square at the front of the parcel. I don't know if you looked on the town GIS maps.
Is that what you gave us? I don't know. I didn't
Okay.
bring it.
I
Too
don't
much
know.
going, I
Yeah.
can't.
Yeah. So this map shows the riverfront. I think we gave you this.
Yes,
You
that's
gave
the
us
one.
that.
Okay, where all that's all the buffers of the river, and that's, and the marsh. The one we didn't have at the site visit was this one, which comes off the state mass mapper and shows where the natural heritage areas are. I'll pass it around to you, but where the hatching is natural heritage area. Where to do work, you need to get a MISA review. And that front little square is where we were talking about possibly being in a more available place for house building.
Oh,
Oh, over by the
Yeah.
barn.
Yeah, kind of over in that front area. You can build in visa territory. There is an exception for housing. So, it doesn't mean you can't, but once again, just means you have to do a visa checklist. You
Right.
send them the project. If you were ready to build a house, you would send them another visa checklist with the limit of work for the house on it, and then they would make a decision. Because we talked about that at the site visit.
Okay.
Anybody else want to see the map? Mhm. Okay, and I listed under that all the other, what are considered high conservation values, since they had asked about other preservation possibilities. These are all the things you would list on an application like a CLTC.
Okay,
This other list of things I put underneath the core, it's in core habitat for aquatic core. It's a critical natural landscape. It's directly connected to a regulated floodway, which is the Scantic.
Right.
So you might be able to get what they call a vulnerability money to do things with your stream that would help mitigate water in a flood time from running into the Scantic.
okay.
It's worth looking into at
Yeah.
least because they'll give you money for that, for doing that, and that helps. And as I said, at the far upper end, it abuts the Fairwood Farm, which is under agriculture preservation. So there's a lot of good reasons.
Is that PH 818?
Yeah, that's priority, priority habitat 818. It's an APR. It's a special agricultural conservation restriction. So it's a little more different. All right, so,
So before we engage in any kind of removal, we have to get approval from NISA. And
and this, and I've written requirement for the NISA into your conditions.
Okay.
So, the determination I'm suggesting is that there's riverfront area, including the 200-foot riverfront area. There's bordering vegetated wetland around the wooded marsh down here in the middle. And under the project is subject to municipal Hampden bylaws under 10.10.02 for a no disturb zone outside all resource areas. So that's 25 feet from the stream and 25 feet from the edge of the marsh. Regardless of any other buffers, you can't disturb anything. You can hand cut invasives. And you can put in a path. You know,
Oh, good, okay,
like a 30-inch.
okay.
Never mentioned that little path.
That's
yeah,
what you were-
Yeah.
blazing
Just
trail,
like a, to
a
the,
nature trail.
to the water. a
Yeah,
small little-
yeah.
okay, Right. Okay, that sounds,
And the wetlands protecting maximum on the path is 30 inches anyway, so it's pretty much safe. So the conditions, we're not confirming the delineations because there was no professional delineation done. My opinion was that the edge of the river is very upland. And that more than 25 feet from the bank is going to be pretty obvious. Was that your feeling as well?
For the most part, but I mean, we didn't go up all the
Yeah,
way
we
up.
didn't go all the way up. the
We
valley.
just did
pretty
that,
technical.
that area around your lawn area. Yeah,
Okay.
it was fairly defined.
Yes.
Oh, yeah,
So,
okay.
It may not be upstream, just like the
Yeah, well,
Scantic,
it is.
the Scantic down here is defined. You go upstream by the cemetery
it's just like.
and you got a plane that's probably 200 feet wide.
Yeah,
And to find the brook in the swamp,
Yeah.
it's very hard. So,
So if there's a place, as you're working your way up the stream there that you come to that's very flooded, other than where the marsh is that we've already delineated or
Yeah.
described. I think you should just treat it as part of the marsh.
Mhm.
yeah, well, yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Okay, so, I figured out if you, alter a 25-foot wide strip, which would be from the 25-foot no disturb zone out to the 50-foot wide, which under the Riverfront Act, you can't do, you have to leave that relatively, untouched. Compared to the 200 feet, you don't have to worry about it.
So from the water bank to 25 feet, you don't touch, from 25 feet to 50 feet, you.
You're
don't
not
touch as
supposed to
much.
disturb this,
Yeah, we're not.
yeah, you're not supposed to dig this,
But we can
disturb.
cut, but not dig up.
right?
Okay,
So
Now,
it-
I'm proposing that because it's all invasives and
Mm.
because you really need to substantially remove that. Or we'll just go, if you cut it up at the base, like that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I,
should they treat it pretty much what they're doing in 25, just cut and that is it? Treat them both pretty much the same?
well, the difference being mechanical removal. I'm proposing that because it's so bad,
They can use
that mechanical
mechanical.
removal that stays within the
Okay.
top 2 inches of soil. Would be better than leaving stuff you have to keep treating with herbicide.
Oh, yeah, we.
Yeah.
You can get an aquatic glyphosate, and you could have a guy come and do it, a licensed guy come. And you basically paint it on all the stumps of everything. That's an alternative. Or you can do the mechanical removal, but you just can't be dredging into the soil.
So if you did the mechanical removal where you.
Brush hog it, so.
Yeah, like a brush hog, then you could do that every year or two, or do you have to reapply every year or every time you want to do it, or? Because if you cut it, it's gonna
Yeah,
come back,
It will come back.
Right.
So we could make a condition that it could be mowed off-season once a year.
Okay, that would work,
Part of
because
management.
it's just gonna come back and come back and back. And a tree that, if there's a tree in there that's been killed by this invasive growth, if it's in danger of like falling
That's
on
right.
the playground or Adeline's place, that we
Yeah,
don't
that's
need
one of the
permission to cut it.
conditions.
Okay,
Okay, so the first condition, what I did was I calculated that 25-foot wide that I'm proposing they be allowed to disturb a little more than usual. And it comes to 8.3% of the riverfront area available, so that's under the 10% allowable minimum for disturbance. I put that I thought and hope the commission believes that it will significantly improve the habitat to remove these invasives, and so therefore we're granting, normally you wouldn't be allowed to brush hog in that area.
thank you.
Any removal within the 25 no disturb zone has to be done by hand, and leave the large clumps in place. So you don't want to.
So you don't want to pull stuff.
Yeah,
Right.
on the outside that you can, because it's flat and it's
not
not
gonna
gonna
wash
flow
out,
into there,
right.
but that 25-foot, you just no disturbs on that. Which means more cutting by hand along the roads.
This is off topic, but because I'm not from Hampton, but I know there was that 1955 flood that was so horrendous. Has there been floods since that time? Okay.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
That's
2005, there was a pretty bad flood.
Yeah.
2005, okay, all right.
Yeah, was that the time we had Main Street closed for a day?
Yeah,
Yeah, I think so.
yeah, it went up to.
Right up just,
Went up to the back door of the nursing home.
Yeah.
yeah,
Kind of its house, it came within an inch of her living room floor.
Yeah. 3 or 4 houses around the, right here.
Well,
were-
that's right above you, on your side of the road. Before that flood, they had a big pond in the back. And the flood took that right out.
Just filled it right up.
Dam and everything up.
Well,
Yeah,
I've lived through
well-
100-year flood in Nashville, so that was
Yeah.
fine.
So there is, Ted's on a committee, or group, whatever you call them, that has been looking at, different, plans to deal with things like, storms and other kinds of disasters. And there is state money available for dealing with vulnerability issues.
I mean,
Some of it's being used, to put extra culverts under Main Street.
oh,
And the other thing that they look at is trying to find places where the water, when it leaves the skant, it can go like across a field instead of into,
the old floodplains that were,
Yeah.
that before we buried them all.
Yeah.
exactly.
And they're looking at doing, what do you call the rain garden thing, but, what's the right
Oh,
name for it?
a rain garden.
Rain garden, I guess. They're looking at doing rain gardens. They're probably gonna do 2 demo units, one at the old Laughing Brook site and one at maybe the town rec.
So those are places where, if there's an area where a lot of water runs off, like off of, for instance, if the barn that we were talking about, which is a 26 by 38 barn, 28 by 36 barn, and it's a salt box, so one side of that house
Oh,
is just a huge roof. If he didn't have an area for that to safely run off into,
Mhm.
which he does, he's kind of uphill and he's got dry land. One thing that people do is like build essentially a retention basin that you plant, plants that can stand to get flooded,
Yeah.
but that can also stand to get dry. And so you don't seal the bottom or anything, you just. let
And
all
they
the
like,
water
they
run
like to
in.
drink water so that it's a natural sponge area.
I don't think you have a good area for that, but there might be other things you can do.
Got plenty of rock.
Yeah, the trees can be removed. As many as practicable should remain unless there's a danger created by trees overhanging the path or a dead tree next to the
Well, I had a
path.
question about, there's that bunch of trees that's like, that has been strangled,
Oh, the ones on the
basically,
far side?
that are, I was concerned about the fact that if they die and fall, they would fall in the direction of the stream,
Yeah, yeah,
which creates a problem when, if something happens, it wash
yeah.
up
I mean,
against,
it- Um,
that bridge and cause
Well,
water.
that's not part of this issue, but I think those are on the main property.
Yeah, because the stream is a dividing
Stream
line
is your
for the
border.
next property.
No, it's on our side.
It's on our side of.
Oh,
the
I thought you
street.
said that was on the other side.
No, no, it's on our side.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
On your
yes,
side.
you can cut them. The main issue is that you're not supposed to take, again, mechanical stuff into the
Right.
into that 50-foot distance from the river. So ideally, you would drop them by hand and then drag them to
Right.
your open area. You know, maybe while the guys there with the brush hog have them just drag them out to where
You
you
mean
can
like
cut
cut
them.
them with the chains, but you can use the chainsaw.
But
you're
you
not
can use a
using that.
chainsaw.
Yeah, you just
Yeah,
can't
the
bring,
point is not to be
You don't have to use
compacting the
the
soil.
you can't bring a truck in to do it.
Okay.
Yeah, we could definitely use a chainsaw.
You know, a lot of the trees now are cut, they bring in these big trucks and do it. You
Yeah,
can't do that.
right, because those trucks are
Or
really
we probably
dead. So,
chainsaw to cut up in small chunks. Yeah.
yeah, there's a lot of possibilities. The disturbed surface, if you brush hog in it, it's ripping up the soil, you have to dig out each layer. Should be immediately covered with straw or similar protection and monitored for regrowth of invasives, and that's gonna be, I'm gonna put in, including mowing,
Like an annual.
yeah. Depending what she
Like a
says,
brush mower or something. More of a brush mower or a sickle bar. something like that.
yeah, but still with that 25-foot notice. strip.
Yeah, because I don't know that we're going to dig everything up. No,
Okay.
that wasn't our intent.
Now, if, depending what Lisa says, one thing they might say is that certain kinds of work has to be done between November and March, because that's when the ground is presumed frozen,
Right.
and the turtles have left all the lawnish area and gone into the woods to dig under
So
the
they-
leaves. So, in this case, I'm not sure what they'll say. So it might be that your mowing would have to be on one side or the other of that
Do
marker.
they come to the property and look at it?
They might send somebody out to look.
We haven't seen any
Mm.
turtles, that's,
Yeah.
yeah.
But you're not walking up
You
the
know-
stream there in that.
No,
The biggest
exactly.
size is like 4 inches.
Yeah,
They look like little brown marbles.
Yeah, I know,
So,
Nice.
they don't get
a
seen.
huge
on-
turtle fan.
Yeah. Usually the ones that get found on somebody's front lawn or walking
Right.
across the
Yeah.
street. Because that's where they stick out.
There
And
was one a few years ago that was, the antique gray house as you cross the bridge on the
Right.
right,
Mhm.
old Harry Burns' house. Well, there was a turtle crossing from your property onto Harry's property, and I had to stop and help the little guy. cross.
So
Yeah.
that's why I say we're well versed in turtles, because that's what we've done we kind of actually have a turtle report.
cool.
Yeah.
So then there's a regular crossing down where Ted lives, where it goes across, they go, come in and go across several lawns and they go
Oh,
down into the
cool.
swamp on the other side.
Believe it or not, the wetlands around the town land, the old landfill where the solar's going in, there were turtles and the town had to get a lot of permits
Yeah, they
and
had
get a
to go
lot
around
of
all
things
that.
done in order to do that solar because of the turtles.
Well, that whole property has changed a boat in the last 20
Yeah.
Really nice.
So it's not just you.
years. No, no,
A walking path may be created at a maximum width of 30 inches. Turnouts to the riverside are allowable, including vista pruning required for safe passage. So either trees or also shrubs, things that have grown into
Yeah.
the path, you can cut those back. The path should minimally disturb the soil and maybe mulch with wood chips, bark mulch, etc. If it has a steep section, water bars should be added to direct eroding water away from the path. You know what a water bar looks like?
well, yeah, I mean, just to stop falling water from coming down.
Yeah, that would be
creating-
coming down the path.
You build a little swale.
Yeah,
like,
right,
Yeah.
just to stop it from wanting to run.
Yeah.
So that would only be an issue, I think,
Traditionally,
up in the higher
riprap or
areas where
something,
you've got steeper sides. But then usually one of the trees you found, you just lay it across there. And
And you don't want it even for yourself, because if it gets bad enough, then you're gonna wind up with major erosion,
Yeah.
so.
So,
It's not, you have to look at it that way. It's not just the brook, it's your own.
a site visit should be arranged when the project is complete or at the end of 1 year, whichever is sooner. To evaluate regoes and the path conditions. So that's apart from your, there's a compliance visit at the end of the project as well, when it's really, really done. But this would be within a year, just to come up and see how the work's going and see if we made all the right conditions. And MISA checklist must be submitted, and any conditions in the Natural Heritage Program response will be added to this document. Well, cannot commence until the response is received by the Conservation Commission. So that's a lot of stuff. Any questions? Any, Andrew, Tom? It's all the stuff. Okay.
So the visa checklist.
The MISA checklist, I tried to print one out and my printer was screwing up. It's 2 pages essentially. That you describe your project, just like you did on the RDA. In fact, if you're smart, an easy thing to do would just be scan your RDA and send them a copy of it, because it has a lot of the stuff in it. And then there's a list of other items you have to have, like a 1 to 25,000 USGS map. If you can't figure out how to do those, you can come visit Bonnie and she can show you. But there is a town mapping system that you can use. Have you ever used it?
I saw it on the website. I didn't
Yeah,
go any further than it. I just saw it there.
yeah. So if you go, we don't have the link on our site, but it's on the assessor site. You go to the
Yeah, I
town
think that's
GIS
where
map,
it's.
and you just,
Go into, when you just get home on the town site, and then from there you have a menu and GIS. is right there.
oh, okay, so you go to it that way. And
Yeah,
then
that's
there's different things you can click, and so you can click it so that it will show you, as a base map, it'll show you the USGS map, or it'll show you a street map or whatever else. So that's one place you can get that map.
And if you go on, that's an easy one to get to, because it's right on the Hampton page. But they changed it, which you wouldn't know, because you've never used it. And now in order to get the layers on there, the layers are, the little tab for layers is way over on the left. Just touch that, and then you have a choice of what you want to see, hit wetlands.
Oh, all right, okay.
And then it'll,
Yeah, so the wetlands will get you this map,
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
yeah. This one's, well, actually, for the base map, that's for the top layers.
Yeah.
For the base map, over on the right, there's another menu. And way at the top of it, there's a whole bunch of, looks like a stack of lines. Just like four lines. And if you click on that, it gives you a choice of base
It's a
map.
table.
This one's on an ortho that shows all the trees and everything else. What you want is, the USGS one is like an old topographic map.
Okay, that shows elevations and all.
So that's the one that they want, because they want to be able to see whether it's a perennial stream.
And where's the application for the Mesa?
Oh, go online to, under, Division of Fish and Wildlife,
Okay, just
Natural Heritage Program.
on the website, on the Hampton
Yeah.
page, or
You know
well,
what?
just a regular Google search?
I'm gonna send Bonnie the link and have her put it onto your RDA, then you'll be
Okay.
right at the bottom.
Yeah, it's,
Okay.
no, it's a regular Google one.
Okay,
It's not on the
Yeah.
Hampden site.
No, but you can just go right on there and it has instructions how to fill it out, and then you can download the pages to do, just from a link. So I'll have Bonnie put the link on the RDA. Oh, but they won't have the RDA yet.
I can, I have their email is right on the
Oh,
application.
okay.
I can just email.
Okay, I'll send you the links.
and you know where we live.
There's a link for how to file, and there's another link where you download the actual form. And then you put all the stuff together that's on that checklist of things you need,
Okay,
and you send it in to them. And within 10 days, they have to respond. and say we got it and we're looking at it more, or we're gonna declare no take or whatever it is. Then, I'm guessing they won't be finished at 10 days for you. They'll say we're reviewing it. And then they'll review it. They have 30 days to review it. And then,
Then it'll be snowing.
yeah. And then they'll say, well, that's still from the beginning.
Yeah.
So then they'll say, either take, no take, or you need a plan.
Okay,
Okay, once they do that and they say you need a plan, et cetera, we can proceed to get all the stuff done.
What you're planning is much more complex than the two gentlemen. who were just
Clearly.
here.
By far. Well, it's because of all this. the
It's
fact
where
that
you
it's
live
all-
and what you're trying to do.
And
Be
the,
careful where you throw your cuttings from your yard, right?
that's, that's right. Okay. So. Anybody want to make a motion? Tom's turn.
Andrew did one, I did one.
Yeah. Number one. Make a
Okay.
motion for 1 South Road and
And
9 South
Because,
Road.
yeah, and because most of the work's actually online.
It is.
Right.
yeah.
Okay.
Or,
Here, why don't you read the top of this?
oh. All right, for work descriptions, clearway, invasive plants adjacent to brook, lush clearing adjacent to the brook, establish major trail to access parcel 2, and determine what possibilities available for land management use.
Okay, and so that again would be a negative number 3.
Yeah, find it and then read it. Third or fourth.
Yeah. Negative, means you don't have to file an NOI, which is an even more complicated application. So negative is a good thing.
don't even ask.
Okay,
So what I'm proposing, and I hope DEP will accept, is that the work done is actually going to improve things. So it won't affect the riverfront area, et cetera, to the detriment of habitat.
okay.
Right.
And then what she says, she hopes DEP, they can override us,
Okay, well, I mean.
because
we
they're
wanna
our
make it
boss,
better.
they're our bosses, not the selectmen, the DEP is our boss.
Oh, interesting.
So your forms go to them and they go up or down,
Well, our goal is to make it better, so.
yeah.
So we'll give this a -3. The work described on reference plan and documents is within area subject to protection under the act, and we will remove, fill, dredge, or alter that area. Therefore, said work requires the filing of a notice of intent.
That's not what we said.
That's the one she said.
Oh, you're not,
Oops.
see,
We'd like to strike.
Sorry. I'm not-
that's a positive too.
He read the wrong one.
This is curious.
Yeah, negative 3.
It's already.
So that wasn't right.
Okay, it's already checked.
Yeah.
The work described in the request is within the buffer zone as defined in regulations, but will not alter an area subject to protection under the act. Therefore, said work does not require the filing of notice,
There we go.
subject to the following conditions.
Right,
We went over.
subject to the page we gave.
And you'll give us copies of
Yeah.
that.
Of the, yeah, you won't get a copy of the actual determination until after the visa comes back.
Okay,
But I suppose
So-
we could send them, you could just send them the front pages so they would have that.
What, you mean, just in front, just the top page?
Yeah, or the page you submitted, do we have a copy of that? Their original, their actual, I
Oh.
think I have,
Oh, yeah, no, I have that. I
No,
didn't
no.
make a file, I didn't make files.
I was thinking they probably didn't have a copy.
The, yeah, you did,
I
there was
do have
one
that.
thing that I noticed, when we did our walkthrough, that, you had mentioned that I had put on the form that I didn't need to put on.
that you,
Oh, right, I'm glad you mentioned
that
that.
you wanted to take
Right,
off.
That's that.
we are going to amend, number B, the boundaries of the resource area and or map referenced below are accurately delineated. We're not deciding that because there was no delineation. But I did mention that in the conditions. so
Okay.
I'll put it back. Okay, and I'll just give you my copy.
Oh, okay.
I can still get those ones I used to work.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? It is unanimous.
Oh, no, thank you so much.
Thank you, and do that Misa as fast as you can, so you don't get stuck up against
So we can't,
Well-
until NISA gives us the blessings and the DEP. we
We're on
are-
hold.
We're on
You're on
a
hold.
holding.
outside 50 feet, you can,
Yeah, I can just go ahead. It's just anything within that line of demarcation.
yeah.
Okay.
All right, thank you all.
I'll show you my neighbors. Yeah, I never seen them. Oh, she's such a.
Okay, we have a couple, wait, one more thing. I brought this book for you. This is a book that's put out by several of the land trusts in, conjunction with, Mass Woods and the UMass Extension talks about all the different kinds of conservation things you can do on land.
Oh, great.
Awesome, thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks for coming. Well, we can sign and then Bonnie just sort of it. Yeah.
Now, why is it 50 feet, not 100 feet?
Well, the truth is because at 100 feet, they don't have anything to do. So they just get confused. When I start talking about 200 feet, 100 feet, they got off. So, because the bushes don't come out, that far, even in the steep part of the stream. But in fact, in the Riverfront Act, they say that you can do all of that other stuff as long as you stay 50 feet away. So they don't really have to.
Number two, what?
Beyond 50 feet, really.
Hmm?
They don't have much beyond 50.
They don't, they really don't have anything
Other
to
than
do.
that pile of rocks.
Right? They have a pile of rocks and an old, really
Not
old
lit.
shed.
No. Your mic is not working.
Oh, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
want to switch? Let me
Well, if
switch.
it's not working well, because it's not lit and it's not lit over there.
Interesting. Where's the other? Oh,
There you go. I just realized it.
Did it, I do guys have a sign?
Yeah.
And Bonnie, if you could type in neatly animal mowing. On whichever one, it looks like it's the best to put it on.
I looked over, I said, "Eh, it's not lit."
Got one of the ones that didn't change battery then?
Who knows? I
Yes.
don't know.
Okay, other things we need to discuss is, you know that Lainey she has COVID. So, and she's feeling pretty rotten. She wasn't today. So she's got all the symptoms. Running. But she will be here, is planning to be here the meeting in May. Yeah.
You'll be back.
Yeah,
That's the week out.
yeah, Judy's having her knee surgery.
Right.
But I will
I'll be
be,
away that same week, so
um,
there's nobody in the office.
For the office, yeah.
that's the week of the 8th, but the 15th is the week
Yeah, that's going on.
after. So, and I will definitely be on the Zoom for that meeting. I can definitely be in the chair. Especially if I sit in the recliner instead of
The chair will be the chair.
the chair. The chair's chair.
There's the chair.
Okay, other things to know. I wrote an opinion, which I don't want to go over at this meeting. But I wrote an opinion for Rick. He had questions about what if the VFW burned down because it's in the riverfront? What would happen to it? You know, could they rebuild it, et cetera, et cetera. So I wrote my opinion back to him. And I said that I would ask you all to read it to see if I made things you don't agree with. I will send you a copy, and you can send me back, indirect comments.
Thank
Um,
you. Everybody signed it?
Yeah.
Thanks.
all right. We've had, a couple of requests for records in regard to the Turnberg cutting, forest cutting plan on Wilbraham Road. We've been told that there's not a lot of noise coming from there now, so maybe he's stopped cutting.
It looks like it's slowing down.
He was supposed to stop cutting after March 31st, and I saw at least 4 truckloads go out
Yeah.
after that. Theoretically, he can be picking up stacks that are on his road and hauling them down,
That's what I was wondering.
but he's not supposed to go off the road. His road was pretty blocked to get
Yeah.
all those,
Oh, yeah.
but so I was kind of watching him closely to make sure not too many more truckloads come out.
It looked like
Um,
things are quieting down as I went by today.
Good, so I'm hoping.
Expect bottom of the hill there, so.
Yeah, oh, it's many, I bet you he took out. Oh, I don't know. 5 or 6 truckloads of wheat.
They
all
went
we
the other
know.
way.
A lot, it's.
Yeah.
Well, he knew he had to stop March 31st, so he
Yeah,
probably.
major
which
clue.
is-
So does it look like he did stop?
Well, I had a woman
It's
come
kind of
in,
hard to tell
from the
because a
neighborhood.
lot of new came down between the end of March and April 15th. But whether he just moved it off the road and down to the lower landing.
There was a lot of
Just impossible to know.
in and out in the past couple weeks of
Yeah.
April, but it seems to be slowing down
Yeah.
now.
So,
So, but there is another guy that lives right there that came down here and talked to us, that's from the DEP.
yeah,
So I'm assuming that he.
so I think he would let us know if there was any sowing or anything close to Pondview, I think we'd know about it.
Yeah. Maybe just been moving everything out there.
Yeah, hopefully.
is that Moya?
Yeah.
Yeah, because he wrote a letter, I got last week, asking for all of the records that the commission had on all of the neighbors in that area.
And all of the emails and all of the,
Yeah.
I
all the
basically went through
correspondence.
all my emails and sent copies of all them, etc. So
And
we
so
have responded.
Dick Petula and I, because you know, he said a file that thing down Turnberg, and Dick had nothing to do, so he and I were working on it and sent it all off to Moriarty, and I never heard back, like, even a
Yeah.
thank you.
He's the one that talked to us before it all started about the copperhead nest.
Yeah,
He thought was up there.
So who is he?
Yeah.
Is he just in a butter or?
It's just,
He works for the
he lives on Pondview.
He
works for
does,
the DEP.
he does.
Yeah,
Oh.
and he used to walk that property all the time and said there was a nest of copperheads up near the top corner.
Mm.
And they are considered endangered, so endangered threatened, I'm not sure which one. Listed anyway.
Mm.
So he was concerned about them, but he did not respond to that. Request. There are copperheads in the Connecticut Valley, and there's at least 2 nests of them in Hampden, but I don't know where they are.
Really?
But they never came back to us and said there was one up there. So. On the other hand, they might not tell us.
Yeah, right. People know.
What they do is they draw priority habitat around it, so you can't do work until it's. He's not really working up in that corner at this point. There's wetlands up in that little extra patch that's up at the end. And my guess is that's probably where the nest is, that they like walk out properties and that's where those are too.
They live in the same place as Bradley, don't they?
Essentially, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, 37 Allen Street, we sent a C sorter only for the back of the property where the buffer is. And they have already hired Gary Weiner to do a stormwater review, which the inspector asked for. And Rebecca is doing an annual, so we should get those next month. Pretty straightforward, it's just a wetlands and a buffer.
He's on our machine, but I haven't returned.
Like I said, that was a whole lot that was totally.
Yeah.
Everybody
they-
wants to know what the heck
everybody-
he's doing there.
he bought the house and they're,
Fixing the house up.
fixing it up, but it's the realty that owns it, so, I think they're just doing like a spec house, they're fixing it all up.
I wonder if they're gonna build put in a short, wanna put a short street with a couple of houses on it.
Yeah, but they're clearing, they're definitely were on their way to the back, they didn't realize there was a buffer back there, at least they did, so. I'm surprised a realtor doesn't know how to use maps.
Oh, of course they know how to use it.
You wanna sell the property?
They're playing
Tell
dumb.
them what's on it, buyer beware.
But
Yeah.
it is by everyone.
So, yeah, we've had several buyers lately who had no idea what they had bought. In terms of wetlands and stuff.
I think he has looked at it because, I got a message from him today as well as, another phone call I haven't returned, but he said that, he mentioned that there may have to be some replanting done
Yeah.
up there.
That's why when the whole thing
So he thinks
confusion,
they might have gone a little
the
too far.
confusion started and everybody started asking me. I got calls from John, I got calls from,
Yeah,
other
and
select.
that, the,
And they said, what's going on? And I said, well, let me, and I stood on the road and looked, I brought up the GIS. Took me a while to get up my stupid phone, but looked and standing there and says, this is not the McNamara property.
yeah, that's the problem is I kept giving them answers about the McNamara property and it was
And,
really.
and I
Jack
said,
that
no,
was-
it's a backward L type lot.
Yeah. once we
And
got
you
that
can
set.
see that thing, and I says, if they're not cutting in it, they're right at it. Now, there's no way,
Yeah.
Tom tried to go around and look from the backside and he couldn't get in.
From back here,
Ah,
I couldn't get through,
He couldn't get in there to look,
I was
but,
back here.
just too wet.
but that's when I said,
Well, it was too wet and there's off-road tracks in there and they were
Mhm.
ATV guys out there riding around, so I
Oh,
didn't want to
sad.
get in trouble.
so I sent all the pictures to you, as I, and said,
Yeah,
this doesn't look good.
so we'll have two guys out there and we'll get that. And eventually, I presume we'll get them to put up permanent markers, so it'll be very obvious.
Well, I think we'll be able to do that since, since there is a resource area back there
Yeah,
and.
and we'll have the.
And if they violated it, then they're gonna have to do
I
some
mean, you're
fixing.
gonna, once they file the ANRAD, then we're gonna have to put that in the, in our ORAD.
Right. Right. Not gonna be as hard as the solar one. No. Okay, so that's, I think, all of the essential things, and don't forget there's a town meeting on the 8th.
So we will be
I will be here.
talking about the markers again. I wonder now that CNC machines become a lot more popular, a lot more around.
CNC machine?
Yeah. You put a piece of plastic down and it cuts out like the design and shape and stuff you want.
Oh,
So I'm wondering if we should come up with like a symbol or something
I would really like
that we
that.
want and have some
Otherwise,
writing
people
on it.
don't really know
and
what those
say,
things are for.
This is the logo you need to have when you come up, it's gotta be this thick plastic or whatever, and then you epoxy it to your posts. So then when someone walks by, they can see it, but now, I mean, we were talking before, it had to be like a poured bronze or a piece of metal. But now with plaster in the CNC machines, there's people all over the place that have, it's just a router bit really,
Yeah,
but it's
Or even a
computerized.
3D printer might even be able to do something.
Yeah, what I'm just saying is now I think we should just come up with a
So they could
design,
go to a sign company and get those pieces of stuff to put them on?
sign or,
Yeah, probably.
they probably do it. There's a lot of people now that do it as small businesses.
yeah.
They do a lot for wood. They just slide a piece of plastic in there.
Yeah.
And cuts the same thing.
Wow.
I'm just wondering now, if someone comes up with a design or a seal
Yeah,
that we would like to make. And then we would just put it on 8.5 by 11 actual size that we want. Say.
Yeah.
Here's what you're gonna make.
take it.
We
and
want
get
it out of, we want it this thick, you're gonna indent, you're gonna cut down this deep. So I'm just saying, we make this, say you make the piece of plastic has to be an inch thick. I'm
It's
just picking
3/4
that.
of an inch
And
thick.
you want everything routed to, a half inch, however you wanna make it.
And the seal would have to be pretty simple, right? Or whatever you're gonna.
Well,
I'm
yeah,
throwing out, I mean,
we had signs made, we had them make signs for the vernal pool at the Gray Forest. And it basically, it had language on it that said, this is a vernal pool, blah, 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 but
Oh, yeah, yeah.
then what we put above it was the town sign and the DEP sign.
Yeah, I mean, I get that, but, I mean, say he does decide to develop this, and you got houses there. I think
Yeah, it'd be
I think
nice
you're
if
gonna
we
get
had something
pushback from a
definitive.
big street, reflective street sign on it.
Yeah,
That's what I'm thinking, if we had to put markers in.
I would really
And
like
then-
to have something that all the homeowners could use. I wonder if we could get,
Cause the other
like
thing,
stickers or something that you could, where you could print and then you could stick it to the plastic.
they ain't gonna, unless you,
Won't last.
no,
see, what I was thinking is, I know we do the lollipops. But eventually, they're going to, the housing on the outside is gonna rust out.
Mhm.
And it's gonna not take much for a mower to whack it, at that point, the concrete's gonna break. You're gonna go over it. I like, if we make them do like a 4-inch PVC pipe, concrete case, we make them do a cap on it. And on the top of the cap is, they adhere that logo on it, so if you walk out and look above it. you see
Yeah,
the
but
logo.
what, we have to figure out something that's reasonable for them to do.
Well, 4-inch PVC pipe, I mean, you post hole that, you put it in no different, and then they fill it with concrete, and then they just buy a cap.
Do you really want white posts sticking out all over? I mean, there are brown PVCs, but they're hard to find.
They can paint post. Nothing
Yeah,
against
that's
us,
true.
nothing against us painting it.
Right.
I just think that would just be really ugly, with white.
Well, it's no
uglier than
concrete. What, it's PVC, and it's gonna be around, I think, a lot longer, especially if we say we want it to schedule 80. You know, mower's gonna whack it and make it break. I'm just seeing, I mean, I see the lollipop in people's basements. Where after,
Oh, sure.
moisture gets,
Yeah.
in, they're all rotted out,
Yeah.
you whack it hard enough.
I'm not arguing whether it
Just
would
that-
stay longer, just, if you're taking a scenic area and you're sticking a little white post all around.
Well, I think it comes, let me see function of the color.
I mean, you
Black.
get-
It
you
comes
can
in
green
black.
and black, but if they wanna paint it. They
Yeah.
wanna coat a paint on it. I mean, I don't see us arguing anything on that because your plastic seal, as long as you can see that what's written in there, it's fine. That's what I'm saying. If it's like 1 inch thick and you have to have the wording. half
I think
inch.
if we're gonna require that, we have to know exactly how they can get it and how much it's gonna cost. I mean, you can't just say you have to do that and they have to figure out how.
If we show the logo and all that. And that's what we want, I'm picking.
But you have to find out
If we do it,
exactly if there's anybody around that
Who will
does
do it.
make it.
Yeah, I don't wanna require something that we're not sure can be made. But I think it's a great
Yeah,
idea.
Well, that's probably
well, look,
something.
well, look what they do with other towns. They make people get casted, bronze casted.
Yeah,
that-
or
that-
like
that-
Suffolk's just
that's a lot of
uses
work.
it's a little sign that has printing on it. And then they wire it to the post. That's another alternative.
But I guess my thing is.
I like yours better, I wanna make sure
It's
it's something
a
they can
It's a
do.
permanent, no, it's a permanent fixture.
So it's a 4-inch diameter,
Well, I'm just thinking 4-inch diameter pipe.
yeah.
Most of the stuff we do. With 2.5, I forget what's allowed now. Allowing now 4-inch?
It might be,
So I'm thinking, I mean, even if we want to go with 3 inch is fine too, but I was trying to make the cap
Yeah, no,
big enough.
yeah.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
It's a problem.
cause it's not, that's
I'm
not very
looking for the
expensive,
rules.
but
No, when we
An
don't,
8-foot
I'm-
or whatever.
yeah,
it
but,
is.
I mean, we want, 2 feet of ground, 1 feet out.
Yeah.
So you can take one, cut it in half, now
Right.
you've got 2 pieces already.
So, but the commission, if we had that as a
You're right.
standard,
Uh,
and the commission, it has to be 4-inch, then there's no reason we couldn't pay for the caps. I wouldn't think.
Well, we would buy the cap, we would buy the thing, and this would adhere to the cap.
Okay,
So like you could say, hey, you gotta buy blah, blah, blah epoxy that would adhere the two together.
I'm comfortable with that. If we're getting the thing created and then they just have to attach it. I don't think.
Yeah, if we wanna get it, made, that's fine.
Even if we have.
I
to
just
charge
wasn't
it
sure
for
what someone, I'm
staff.
just saying, does someone have an idea of what they want it to look? You can actually be creative, I mean, wanted the town of Hampden seal
That's solid.
in the middle, and then say,
Whatever.
conservation land beyond this point, or something like that. I just wasn't sure what anybody wanted to, or
They
preservation,
can do that,
preservation land.
they can do it that.
Oh, in a router, oh, yeah, nowadays, yeah. And you get these people, they do it, they draw it up once on the computer. They just set the piece and they hit print and, or
So it would not be in color, it would just be etched in there?
it'd be whatever one color we want, and then they would
It's
etch it
etched
in
in.
that color.
And you can read that.
Well, that's what I'm saying, that's why I was going with 4 inch, so you could read it,
Okay.
you know, in the.
Well,
thing.
somebody want to design some proposals? Who's artistic?
I was throwing out there,
Bonnie?
you know.
I'm not artistic, no.
No, I'm just saying, we have these lolly columns everywhere.
I mean, I'm good with
I've been-
rulers. and
I've been with a lot of friends that have gone out and looked at properties. They go, there's a lot of lolly columns here, used to be a deck.
Yeah.
Figure out how to pull these out. They
Yeah,
have no clue what they're for.
Yeah, oh, I totally agree with you. I just want to make sure we don't demand something that they have no idea how to
Yeah.
do it. I
No,
mean,
that's
well,
not,
we're still doing that when we give the, when they file an NOI or whatever, and then we give them the paper on, you know, what we want and.
yeah,
and
but we're just saying you have to buy a post and dig it in, so. I think-
Well, we're not saying a post though. I mean,
no, I'm saying.
No,
yeah.
I'm just saying for the part, if we're gonna demand this thing, whatever it is, I think we have to create it and we have to make sure somebody's willing to make it for us. And then if we wanna buy it, or if we wanna say you have to go to so-and-so and get some, I don't,
Or
either way. I think
buy it, stock, make a stock of them.
If we get a stock of them, we find out costs,
Or supply.
yeah,
can we include in our payment, that we include that cost to get reimbursed 100%, not charge extra for it, make money off of it.
But just,
I'm saying just to get reimbursed.
Well,
for
why
the
don't you
cost.
talk to, Dick, I think it would just involve a revolving fund. They have to have some place to put the money into
Yeah.
now that,
I'm just saying, if we took some of our funds and we bought 100 of these,
yeah,
yeah,
Yeah.
it's cheaper by, you know, it might be cheaper by bulk. We buy 100 of these,
right.
store them down there. $2 a piece, and someone comes in and needs, oh, I need 20 of them. Buy it for $2.
so Bonnie, you wanna talk to Dick and see if he thinks that's a possible legal thing
Of
to
where
do?
we could get the money, take the money.
Some way of
I know.
managing money that we would have them pay for, perhaps we would sell them. And we would just be not making money, just. doing costs.
reimbursement.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea that we have those, like Andrew said, even if we have to buy 100. I mean, every,
Oh, I wouldn't mind buying 200 if we.
Yeah.
It depends on the cost. I mean, I don't know what we have for costs.
but
Who wants to go talk to somebody about getting something like that done?
I
We know where to go.
I
You
would.
wanna try?
I got a guy down the street from.
You got a guy?
Got a guy?
Well, no, the only reason I think it is because I watched him bring it in his house.
Why
I'm
don't
not
you
saying, I'm not
pursue-
saying he would do it, but I'm saying I can talk to
You might
him.
know how to do it.
He might
Okay,
You
know
fixed
how
it.
to
so
start.
why don't you
You did it.
pursue that and try to figure out what it
It's
might
better.
cost, and I'll try
Thank
to
you.
find somebody to design them.
Town owes you a couple batteries. Pam has some.
Yeah, to find out.
Tell
I
Pam
mean,
she
that's
owes you
money.
some.
Yeah,
We
just
have
if
one.
it's a legal thing and what we would
I mean,
require that we
If you
could do.
decide you don't want to do the PVC pipe, you can buy a PVC cap.
I will thank you
Just
again
fill out
on
top.
Monday.
Adhere that to it.
Right.
Sure.
I said I'll thank you
Epoxy
again on
cap
Monday.
On top, so you won't see that white piece.
Yeah,
And
I'm
hopefully,
sitting here, so wait a minute, I
Hopefully-
go batteries, I go see.
Good.
If it
hopefully
works.
you'll hear us.
okay. I'll take the proposal for adjourning.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The meeting is adjourned.